All right, some vibrato exercises to start. So most important thing is you have to be sitting and holding the cello correctly. Make sure it's leaning up against you. The pegs are over your shoulder, behind your ear, and then get your left hand set in place. So don't put it on the strings, but have your fingers curved, hovering above the strings. Thumb has to be behind second finger, and elbow should be up so that that wrist is straight. Vibrato on cello should not be your wrist moving, it's your forearm. So it's kind of a rotation of movement where it's coming from your elbow through your forearm. So the exercises we're going to do are just going to help your hand get used to that motion. First thing you're going to do is set that hand up. You can just set your second finger on the string, but you're not going to push it down. You're just going to let it rest on top of the string. And making sure that you're moving your second finger with your thumb, you're just gonna move from the top of the fingerboard down to where you hit the neck of the cello, the base of the neck. And once you kind of get this motion going even and steady, you'll make it a little bit smaller. You can go from like the back end up to where your fourth finger tape is, then maybe start making it a little bit slower between your first and fourth finger tape, then between your first and third finger tape, then between where your first and second finger would go, until you kind of end in place and you can press your finger down and rock. You can also do this with your finger pressed down. I would suggest starting on your first finger tape, sliding between first and fourth. Then once you get used to that, first and third, first and second, and make that motion smaller and smaller until your finger is just moving. You can also try this with your bow. Until you get to that point where you can hear the vibrato in one place. The goal is to make it relaxed so that you can control the speed. Right now we want it not too fast. You want to make sure you're not gripping the neck of the cello and shaking your hand. You should be able to control the speed. So right now, kind of a wider vibrato is a good goal to set for yourself. And then you can also use a metronome and practice. So I'm gonna set my metronome at 90. Once you get used to this motion, set your finger in place and you're gonna rock it back and forth. You can do this without your bow. So forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. Then you can do it by eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You could even go for triplets. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and eventually 16th notes. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E. So that you're just getting your finger going at different speeds. Once you get used to doing it without the bow, start adding the bow. Quarter notes. 1. Eighth notes. 1 until you can start to speed it up. You can change the speed on the actual metronome, and you can start playing at different speeds. And then the goal would be to do it with a scale. Pick your easiest scale. Do D major. Or one of the scales you're working on for your audition. And just use long full bows so you can practice on that motion. When you're first starting vibrato, second's gonna be the easiest finger to start all these exercises with and to start playing on. Once you get second finger a little set and comfortable, then try those same exercises, sliding on the string, pressing down with the metronome on your first finger, then try your third, and then finally try your pinky. Your pinky's your weakest finger, so it's gonna take just a little bit longer to build that strength up. Now moving to your excerpt, I just wanted to point out a couple things that are a little bit different than the video from the tutorial. If you look at measure 6, 7, 8, you're going to start in second position. So find where your second finger goes, put your first finger there, and the first 3 notes are there in second position. 1, 3, 4 for the F, G, and A flat. The next 3 notes are gonna go up on your D string. And this is gonna be 5th position, so just a little bit past 4th. So find where your 4th position is, put your 2nd finger down, and then replace it with your 1st. That is 5th position. So this note is B flat. To get to the next note, you're gonna put a space, a whole step to get to the C. And then this one's gonna feel like a bigger stretch. You gotta reach that 3rd finger. So make sure that thumb is behind the neck, almost coming around the side. Bring that elbow around to help your 3rd finger stretch for the D. So in measure 8, I would practice this honestly, plucking separate each note, then play it as a scale, separate bows, and then add your note, your slur, so that you can build up to playing it with the correct rhythm, correct bowing. So measure 8, shift, whole step, brings you to measure the following measure, which is after that 6. So it's technically measure 56. You're gonna lift that 3rd finger, play the 2nd, and then you're gonna shift back to 3rd position. So 1st finger goes on your 4th tape, and you set all 4 fingers down. Shift back to 1st position. So starting 2 measures after 6. Shift. Now for these 8th notes, you want to now make them lighter, more separate. So very little bow with stops, and make sure we're starting with that 1st finger, stretch back for an E flat. Then put a 4th finger on the E flat. 3rd lands on the D. Move back to 1st position. Stretch that 1st finger back on its side. Stretch back, E flat. So that whole section now. Make sure you restart for an up bow. And now we're at rehearsal 7. We're gonna start right in 3rd position. So 1st finger on the 4th tape. Stay there. Now move your whole hand to 4th position. Move back. The next measure is all in 3rd position, but you're gonna see the 1st note, it's all one bow. But after the 1st note, you're gonna stop and put a pause. 1, 2, and 3. Then you shift up. Then up in 4th position. And a lot of these held notes is where we're going to want to add that vibrato.